Alvaro Castagnet was born on Halloween in Uruguay in the mid-1950s. His love of drawing and painting started when he was in kindergarten. One day, when he was ill and couldn't attend school, Alvaro's grandmother gave him colored pencils and paper. When his mother returned from work 4 hours later, Alvaro was still drawing. Alvaro was greatly influenced by his mother, Elisa, who taught him many important life principles. She was a school teacher who, although strict, was much loved by her students. Even today, at 101 years old, she is still in touch with many of her former students. Francisco, his father, also had a love for all artistic expression, painting, classical music, and more. He always encouraged Alvaro to draw and paint, and introduced him to Esteban Garino, a top watercolorist in Uruguay. It was Garino who inspired Alvaro to paint in watercolor, an inspiration that changed the young artist's life. Alvaro worked in Garino's studio doing odd jobs, bringing coffee or cigarettes, so he could be around the painter and learn. If art was his first love, soccer was his second. As a toddler, Alvaro discovered the game and was never too far away from a soccer ball. Later, in his teens, he played for a local soccer club and became obsessed with his favorite team, Peñarol, an obsession that continues today. Alvaro donated a large painting to the club, and it has pride of place in the club director's room. In the early 80s, Alvaro met an Australian girl who was backpacking around South America, and she invited him back to her home country. Although their relationship did not last, while in Australia, he was inspired by the high quality of watercolor materials and artists, and he decided to stay. His career took off. He spent the 80s painting, exhibiting, winning prizes, and running workshops. He was completely dedicated to his art. By the late 80s, Alvaro was living in Melbourne. One year, he decided to travel back to South America to visit his family and friends during the summertime. And in the summer of 1988, he met the love of his life on a beach in Uruguay. Ana Maria and Alvaro married in 1989 and have 2 boys, Gaston, who is also artistic, and Calvin, who is studying business and finance. 20 years ago, Alvaro and a group of other talented artists from Australia started a group called Winterlutz. The members are Joseph Zibukvich, Erman Pikel, Patrick Carroll, Nick Canosa, and Alvaro. And they travel the world together, painting plein air, playing pool, drinking beers, singing songs, and just strengthening their friendship with great conversation. They have published a book together and have done many exhibitions. It's a trip the group looks forward to every year. Today, Alvaro and Ana Maria spend time in both Australia and Uruguay, and they love traveling and meeting people and sharing their love for watercolors. In the 90s, Alvaro started tutoring around the world and running workshops in Europe and South America. Alvaro has released 3 books that were inspired by his students and fans. The most recent book, Watercolor Masterclass, Understanding the 4 Pillars of Watercolor, has been translated into 4 different languages and is in the process of being released in Chinese. He has written and contributed to a number of magazines and books in many different languages all over the world. And he has his own line of videos, sketchbooks, brushes, and other products. Alvaro has won awards all around the world, including the American Watercolor Society's coveted Dolphin Fellowship. His ultimate aim is to raise the profile of watercolor, and he is always trying to take the medium to another level and help it get the recognition that it deserves. Alvaro says, "For me, the most important thing about painting is the noise, the taste, the smell. As an artist, I give a great deal of attention to get beyond the literal representation of the scene. Watercolor is a way of expressing myself because it's quick. I am a very spontaneous painter. When we paint with speed, we create mistakes. It's fantastic when you see imperfect paintings, which have integrity, honesty, and passion. We paint from the heart instead of being directed by the mind. Art is not intellect. Art is jumping into the unknown. Art is the perfect imperfection. Please join us as we present Alvaro Castagnet the Plein magazine Lifetime Achievement Award.